Advantage Plus, Meta's favorite phrase that does nothing but cause confusion. I will be breaking down the various Advantage Plus options inside of Facebook Ads Manager. That way you know which ones to use and which ones to avoid. What's up everybody? Alvaro here from Alvaro Barrios Digital, and you've probably already seen this. They like to use, and I mean they by Meta, they like to use the phrase Advantage Plus for a lot of the settings now inside of Facebook Ads Manager. And it's a very confusing phrase because you would think Advantage Plus offers something that's different from what existed in the past, but it's actually not the case. Some things were just renamed to whatever Advantage Plus, but it's still the same thing as before, whereas there's also new things that are also labeled as Advantage Plus because they have new settings and optimizations. Very confusing, and it's just a terrible naming convention. That being said, I want to make sure that you have clarity on your end on which of these Advantage Plus options to use and which ones to avoid. So let's go ahead and start diving right in. All right, so the very first one is Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. This is right at the campaign level when you start creating your ad and you scroll down, and by default it's going to select Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. Now here, this is the exact same thing as what used to be called Campaign Budget Optimization. So this goes back to what I was saying, where there's actually literally no change here. The same behavior from Campaign Budget Optimization is the same behavior with Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. They just really wanted to have that Advantage Plus naming convention in there, so that's what they put right here. Really, my guidelines for CBO, I still like to call it CBO because it's just simpler for me to remember it that way. So my general guideline with Advantage Campaign Budget Plus, aka CBO, is that if you're spending less than $1,000 per month, you should definitely not be using Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. It's just not going to optimize as well as it potentially could. If you're spending between $1,000 and $10,000 a month, you want to consider using Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. And then if you are spending more than $10,000 a month, then I would say it's highly likely that you should be using Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. Now, I will say, I actually don't think from an optimization standpoint or a cost per lead, cost per sale standpoint that there is actually an advantage with Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. The only reason I recommend what I just said is because once you start getting to those bigger and bigger budgets, it just is easier to manage a campaign when it is on the Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. So if you're a solopreneur or you just have a small team and you're spending $50,000 a month and that's split between, 20 different ad sets, that could be a lot to manage, right? Whereas if you're using the Advantage Campaign Budget Plus, it'll be a lot easier for you to manage the spend right there. All right, so next up we have Advantage Plus Audience. So this actually is a new one, and I did an entire video on my results of Advantage Plus Audience. That way you can figure out whether you should be using this in your account. So if you want to see that whole video breakdown, go ahead and click on the link in the upper right corner of this video. But you'll see from my responses in that video that it really depends. The vast majority of my clients that I've tested Advantage Plus Audiences on, it actually has worked phenomenally well. Unfortunately for my own ads, it has actually not worked so well, so I do not use it for my account. And if you're wondering why, the reason that it hasn't been working for my account is because the whole essence of Advantage Plus Audiences is that it'll go beyond the targeting options that you give it, right? So if you're saying I want to target males between the ages of 30 and 50 who are interested in UFC, it's going to go beyond that. Not only the UFC targeting option, maybe it'll go after men who are also into boxing or wrestling. It's also going to go beyond the age range targeting. So that actually what keeps on happening to me is that too much of my budget goes to an age range that is not relevant for my target audience. So it hasn't worked well for my own personal ads. But like I said, I have most of my clients who are actually using almost exclusively Advantage Plus Audiences. But again, test it for yourself because it's never a guarantee. All right, so next up, let's say you don't want to use Advantage Plus Audiences and you want to use the original audiences, which you can still do at this moment, which I think is fantastic. Obviously, they're going to give you this warning because they want to use it, but don't worry, you can just click on use original audience and you see all of the same settings that you enjoyed before. However, even in here, you cannot escape the Advantage Plus cloud that Meta puts over us, because when you go to detailed targeting, there's a couple things that happen right here. You'll see here, it automatically selects Advantage Detailed Targeting Plus, where it says reach people beyond your detailed targeting selections when it's likely to improve performance. So what is the difference between this and the default Advantage Plus audience settings? Well, from a technical standpoint, I actually can't really tell you because they pretty much read exactly the same, but I can tell you from experience testing this with different clients and my own account as well, is that the default setting of the Advantage Plus audience that we just saw right before me talking about this, again, the naming conventions get super confusing, but that just tends to work better than the normal targeting with Advantage Detailed Targeting Plus. I know, again, super confusing naming conventions, but it just seems to work better with the first setting as opposed to this thing here. Again, again, this always comes down to testing. So you're going to want to give it a go. If you need just like a quick guideline, I would say don't go with the advantage detail plus targeting here when you're doing normal old school targeting. But again, just test it and see for yourself. All right, so next up we have the placements. The default is always advantage plus placements, and this is kind of like the CBO case where there actually is no difference right here. This used to be called all placements, but because they want to put advantage plus on everything, now they simply call it advantage plus placements. And I do recommend you use this setting really for 90 to 95% of your campaigns. Yes, there is a time and place for manual placements, but just to kind of keep things simple, really for the most part, you want to be going with the advantage plus placements. All right, now we are getting into advantage plus creative optimizations. So we've gone from the campaign level to the ad set level. Now we're going to the ad level. So this only appears once you have selected your creative, whether it's an image or a video. And there's a whole slew of options that by default are auto selected for you, but you do have the ability to turn some of them off. Here, I do have some very firm recommendations, right? For a lot of the previous stuff, namely Advantage Audience Plus and Advantage Targeting Detailed Plus. I'm probably messing those names up, right? I said just test it for yourself and see if that works for you. But here, I'm gonna give some very firm no's and yeses. So let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so here is the screen. You select your creative. In this case, I've done an image. And like I said, by default, it's going to auto select all optimizations right there. And you get to preview what all of these optimizations look like. Some of them I think are good. Some of them I think are actually pretty bad. So let's start off with the first one, the image template. So what this is going to do, particularly on the Instagram placement, as you are probably aware, Instagram, you don't see headlines, right? So the headline field at the ad level, that's only seen on Facebook. But with this setting, they can add your headline at the top of the image right here. However, it's pretty jarring. As you can see, it's not very well done in my opinion. So particularly if you are in a client-based business like I am, I often turn this off because if they see that, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, this is not the one I approved. What the heck is going on, right? If it's for your own business and you're okay with it, then I'll obviously go ahead and leave it on. The good thing is that you can adjust the fonts and the colors. Now, I have done this myself a little bit. No matter what, I'm never really truly satisfied with the way it looks. So overall, I'm still not huge fan of this, but I do tend to leave it on for my own ads, simply because I do like showing the headline on the Instagram placement, but I leave it off for my clients' ads. Another thing I'll point out that is very funny and interesting from Facebook is they want you to use all of these because by default, each and every single one of them is selected. However, you can see right here that it says 61% of advertising and marketing businesses have turned on image template. So they're actually not telling you, hey, this actually improved results. They're just telling you that people have left it on, which honestly means nothing because the default is that it's on and a lot of people probably don't even notice this. So there's no real data as to whether or not this actually helps your ad from Facebook themselves. I would kind of wish they provided that, but they do not. And for all of these settings, you can't see, oh, how does the ad with this on versus it off perform, or this on and that off perform, right? You don't get that kind of granular data, which is kind of annoying. All right, next up is visual touch-ups. So if we look at the information here, it says we will automatically adjust the aspect ratio and the brightness and contrast of your ad's creative. This can help improve the visual quality of your ad and improve performance. I always do leave this one on. I think this is perfectly fine right here. Oftentimes when these visual touch-ups happen, it's actually based upon the time of day. So if someone is looking at their phone at night, the brightness will be lower. That way it's not like too difficult on the eyes, but if it's during the day, they'll make it a little bit brighter and stuff like that. So I think this one here is perfectly fine. All right, let's move on to expand image. As they say here, automatically expand your image to fit more placements. Now here is my image and it looks exactly the same really for the most part across different placements. So this is the normal one. And then this is here what it would appear like in the stories / reels placement, but it's really just the same image. All they did was they added like a blurry background up here. They included the headline and that's kind of it. So I leave this on because I don't see how this can harm it. I think in most cases, it's going to be exactly the same. All right, next one is music. So add music to your ad so it matches the look and feel of platforms that use sound. So you can preview the music here by clicking on the play button right there. And then if you want to change this, you can change the music by clicking that button right there. You can test a bunch of different songs over here, or you can just have it automatically apply based upon your media and music popularity, stuff like that. You can search for artists or keywords. You know, this is one of those things where I tend to leave it on. I honestly don't have any data that, oh, ads with music work better than ads without music, simply because I've never felt that that is worth testing a bunch of budget for. I'm not going to split into two different campaigns, one with music and one without, just to see how that works. Again, that's just my personal opinion. That's not a worthwhile test, but I leave it on because honestly, the vast majority of people, they are browsing through their phones on mute. I forget the statistic, but it's something like 70-something% of people have their phone on mute. So most people aren't even going to hear the music. So I think it's kind of just one of those things that's not going to harm you in any way, shape, or form. Next up, we have 3D animation. This photo right here is not eligible for 3D animation, as you can see right here. But if it were, I would actually leave it on. I have seen these in my newsfeed. I think they're actually kind of cool. They definitely do stop the scroll, so I leave it on. All right, next up we have text improvements. So this one I absolutely recommend turning off. So right, you can see right here at the bottom it says any text you provide may appear as primary text, headline, or description, which is just absolutely wild. Think about the fact that they can make your headline be your primary text and your primary text be your headline. It looks terrible. I have had this show up in my newsfeed for a client campaign, and they actually sent me a screenshot too. They're like, hey, why the heck does my ad look so weird? I'm like, I don't know what that is. They had just released this. It looks really bad. And again, they don't even tell you that it works, right? They just tell you that 75% of advertisers and marketing businesses have turned on text improvements. That doesn't mean that it's actually working for them. Again, most people don't realize that this is being left on, so they're not providing any valuable data there. So definitely turn this off. All right, next up is image filter. So if we hover over this, it says we will apply minor filters to your image when likely to improve performance. The stock image below does not represent your ad. So this is kind of one of those filters that you kind of see on Instagram, where when you upload an organic photo, you can change the filter by making it look normal, making it look old fashioned and stuff like that. I think this is fine. I leave it on. It's going to cater to the people and kind of this type of images that they like and respond to. So leave this on. And then lastly is relevant comments. Let's go ahead and read the description here. We will display the most relevant comment below your ad on Facebook and Instagram. Again, I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think this is going to make or break your campaign in any way, shape, or form. So go ahead and leave it on. Now, those were the Advantage Plus creative options for a single image. You do get different options based upon the type of creative that you upload, image versus video, or versus carousel. And the carousel one, there's one you absolutely need to look out for. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so here's an option for a carousel. Now we do see a lot of the same ones: music, relevant comment, all that kind of stuff. Those are fine to leave on, but there's a couple here that you do want to pay attention to. One is profile at the end of the card. So you go here, the read in the carousel, and it gets to the end, and then there's a profile that takes you to the actual business's profile. I like to turn this off because that takes away from the main action that you're trying to get them to do. Right here, I'm trying to get them to click on through to the website, but if they click on that, it takes them to the profile page, which is a no-no. So I will go ahead and turn that off. And then the big one actually is highlight carousel card. So if we read the description for this one, it says we will automatically show the best performing card first, where in most cases, your carousel cards are in a very specific order because they're meant to be read in that order. So if they do that, what they're going to do is that the carousel card that people end up clicking on first, then they'll put that as the number one, even though if it doesn't make sense, because maybe it's like the third card and it's in the middle of a sentence and it's just going to look weird. So again, I'm going to turn this one off. Now, if you're doing e-commerce and there is no rhyme or reason to the order of your carousel cards, that's fine. You can go ahead and leave this on. No problem with that. But if there is a very specific intention behind the order of your cards, definitely go ahead and turn that off. All right. And last but not least is Advantage Plus shopping. This is only specific to when you're using the sales objective. So let's take a look at this one. So an Advantage Plus shopping campaign it's pretty similar to just your regular campaign. There is basically only a campaign level. There is no individual ad set level, or the other way you can think about it is that the campaign level and the ad set level are combined. Because you can see here's the name of the campaign and then the name of the ads. I can't click on any individual ad set. They just kind of blend everything together into one interface for both the campaign settings and the ad set settings. But that's really not what the draw is of Advantage Plus shopping. What Advantage Plus shopping does is that it's going to go through your entire library of past ads for your specific offer, and it's going to just dump them all into the ad. So this is one Advantage Plus shopping campaign, and it just automatically pulled all these ads. It kind of went back into the archive and it says, I'm going to go ahead and run them. So that is what an Advantage Plus shopping campaign is. Now, in terms of whether you're going to get good results, just test it. I've had mixed results with this. It works well for some clients. It doesn't work well for other clients. So like in most cases, just test it out and see if it works for your business. All right. And there we have it. We have gone through the gauntlet of reviewing all of the various Advantage Plus options out there. Or have we? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if someone in the comments told me that I missed one or another, because they're always changing the naming conventions to something else inside of Facebook Ads Manager as Advantage Plus. So if I did miss one, actually just let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to do a follow-up video, but I'm pretty sure I covered all the big ones. If you have any questions about the topics I I covered today. As always, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.